Hello, I'm Sally, and I created this channel because I've been suffering with a leg ulcer for 7 months, and no one seems to be doing anything like this on YouTube. I had no idea that a leg ulcer would be life-changing, both physically and mentally, and I found that there's two major noticeable side effects of this condition, and that is loss of attention span and the inability to absorb things. I can be I can actually be watching something on my TV that I'm really interested in, and I suddenly realise that my mind has wandered, which is down to either trying to control the hurt, discomfort, or pain, or just thinking about my ulcer. And again, I can be talking to someone, and by the time they've got to the end of their sentence, I've totally forgotten what they're talking about. So basically, I'm vague and generally not myself. I've read that no one knows your ulcer like you do, and that's how I feel about mine. I know what treatments hurt, and I know which ones soothe. This isn't really a channel to push alternative therapies, but I am open-minded. And if you've tried one and it was successful, please tell us. I tried one and it was successful, and I'm going to tell you about that in a future video. I've heard that Manuka honey and acupuncture are alternatives that have worked, and I'm actually interested in both. Not so much the acupuncture, problem with needles. But so if you had any experience of those, please let us know. Comments below, thank you. If you want me to cover something specific, please tell me in the comments, or you can email me, and I'll do my best. So today I'm going to tell you how it all started, and before I start, I'm going to give you a key word, which is prevention. If I knew then what I know now, I probably could have prevented this. So last summer, simple thing, I nicked my leg when I was shaving, and it was a tiny, tiny little wound. It developed a small scab as normal, and when I showered, I'd wash it off with my scrub, and another one would form. But when I've had bites and little cuts, usually the scab would wash off and underneath would be lovely new skin. But in this case, the scab would form again. And I had that for maybe 3 months. Didn't think anything of it, to be honest. And then last September, we had some outside work to do, which meant me wearing my work clothes, which are leggings. And the first day, the inside seam was rubbing on my leg. And it rubbed the tiny wound because I was up and down the stairs. And that night, I looked at it and thought, So I put a bit of antiseptic cream on it and stuck a plaster on. And the next day, I did that before I started work. And then during the day, the plaster came off, rub. And it was only when I took my leggings off that I realised it was getting a little bit worse. So I just carried on while we were doing all this work. Plaster, antiseptic cream, blah, 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 blah. I probably put a bit of TCP on it as well. But I should have taken a little bit more care. You see, I usually heal well from bites and cuts. Bites can last a bit longer if they keep itching, but they clear up. The scab comes, falls off, good skin. So by the time we'd finished our work, I still carried on the same thing with the antiseptic and plaster, but the wound had got bigger. And I was not concerned, but I was aware of it. And then my husband forced me to go to the doctor. I don't like going to the doctor. Who does? Well, some people do, but I definitely don't. But I went to see him in October, and he gave me the diagnosis. It was an ulcer. And from the moment the doctor started my treatment, the pain started. So my treatment commenced with the removal of the scab with a scalpel so he could clean the wound bed thoroughly. I went through the roof. The pain was just incredible. Thankfully, there was no one else in the surgery. I was the last patient. The product used for cleaning was betadine liquid and betadine ointment. So there's the liquid, and there's the ointment. But I will tell you more about that in the future. And it didn't hurt when he used the liquid, and it didn't hurt when he poured it directly on the wound, and the same with the ointment. So by the time I was all wrapped up, I felt quite comfortable and the pain had subsided. So I walked across the road to the chemist and I got my little bag of dressings, betadine, huge bottle, everything else I needed. And as we started to walk to the car, I just was hit with the most intense pain. I couldn't believe it. So my husband went and got the car and brought me home. And the doctor said two things to me. He said, walk, walk, walk. And then he said, whenever I was sitting down, I had to elevate my leg. So I went straight into the living room, elevated my leg, and it was really uncomfortable and actually painful. So I just had it at a hip level. So in the course of that afternoon, I'd had the initial incision pain when he cut the scab away, the breathtaking pain as I was walking, and then the discomfort pain from having my leg elevated. So I'd already experienced 3 types of pain. Little did I know what was going to come. When I say pain, I mean pain. As I know you will understand, you're going through it yourself. When I've hurt myself in the past, I think, that's painful. But now I realise it wasn't. It was just hurt. And that's so much less than pain. When I don't have pain and I just have hurt, I can live with that. And that's actually what I've got at the moment. It's hurting and it's there. But at this particular moment, I should have kept my mouth shut, but it's all right. So all this is from a tiny little wound, and it could have been prevented if I'd had more knowledge of the things that can cause a wound to develop into an ulcer. I would have treated the wound differently. That's why I'd like to develop a community, and for that community to spread awareness of leg ulcers. My close family and friends, they know I have an ulcer, but I'm also making them aware of a way to prevent getting an ulcer, because you just don't know. And I will return with another short video on prevention. So please use the comments section below to tell us about your situation. Ask questions, rant about how you're feeling. Share anything you like, and hopefully we'll all learn from it. And if you want to remain private, you can email me direct. My email is below. I ask you to please subscribe to my channel and press the notification button so you'll be alerted when I post my next video, which will be on the subject of prevention. Please share this with anyone you know who's got a leg ulcer, or to their families. And I suggest their families because it's important that members of the family are aware of what you're going through. This isn't a normal wound, it's a chronic wound. And if the family have a better understanding of the effects it's having on you, then they may be a bit more forgiving when we're short-tempered or vague or hurting so much that we don't want to speak to anyone or listen to them. And it's hard to say, shut up, I don't want to hear it, because you're sitting there rocking in pain. So in the future, I'm going to be talking also about the physical, no, I'm not. I'm going to be talking about the psychological effects that ulcers can have on the sufferer. The physical ones are quite obvious, aren't they? And can I ask you to please like this video? And as I've said before, if you're going to dislike it, that's perfectly fine. But I want to know why you dislike it. So you could write in the comments section below and maybe I can then improve the channel. Okay? So thank you for watching. Put your feet up and get well soon. Bye.